As we prepare for our Avid Summative for the year, I'm thinking about how changing systems connect back to identity. Remember, first semester, we talked about knowing your identity and your strengths. Now we're combining that with knowing the system and having a vision for how change could make systems more equitable. And so we're going to look quickly at an organization called the Just Action Coalition. It's a newish organization this year. And the format that the creators of the Just Action Coalition used to spread the word about their organization was Instagram. So this is a series of Instagram slides that will be one of the options that you could use for your Avid Summative if you choose to do so. So they started by defining their organization. It's aiming to amplify the youth voice to create collaboration between advocates and the powers that be. And you can see from the hashtags some of the powers that they're talking about. They look at police reform, Black Lives Matter, police brutality, police accountability. So you can see from the hashtags which systems they are hoping to change. You can see they've got a link in their bio so that you can join their newsletter. And they look at they were doing some organizing around voter registration. This was back before November. They've got a platform. So they have put together, they want to promote legislation that builds bridges between law enforcement and the communities they serve. And these are all young people who are doing this work. So they're trying to connect youth voices to law enforcement at both a local, so that would be city, and state level. And this is all in Minnesota. And then they are connecting themselves and their identities to this work. So Jalen Travis is one of the co-founders. And the way that they introduce themselves reinforces our conversations about identity. So age, gender expression, he, him, location. He goes to school at Princeton University, and he must be a freshman because he's 18. He's studying public and international affairs. And then one of the things that they do that I thought was super interesting is they all identify the three identities that have shaped them the most. And so Travis talks about being biracial, Black dad, white mom, being athletic, and being Catholic. So racial identity, he has an athletic identity, and then a religious identity. And then they talk about the push, why they want to impact the system, and how can we create the change if we want to see, if we can't go protest, and then advice to people. And so you can see as we go through the identities that they selected, and their reasons for wanting to change the system to make it more equitable. And this young man gives advice: build a platform and get connected. Doesn't have to be big, but networking is the key. There's value in relationships, and you're only as valuable as you make yourself. And this young man, Matthew Seawood, is at Morehouse College, which is a historically Black college in Atlanta, Georgia. It's where Martin Luther King went to school, Morehouse man. Something you consider a strength in yourself. He says confidence. And then Elijah is 17. He goes to De La Salle High School in Minneapolis. And the three identities that he finds are central to him are his biracial, being a leader, and being a curious person. And his reason for getting involved in activism, he connected with students. I think that Matthew and Jalen were both a year ahead of him at De La Salle High School and pulled him into their work to make him an executive board member, so that they had, because they're both in other states now, but they wanted a connection back to the Twin Cities. So they're connected to Minneapolis through their executive board member, Elijah. And so you can see how they used Instagram as a way to share the message about the organization that they started, but you can also see the connection between identity and trying to make systems change. Their age, their racial identity, their location identity, their educational identity, religious identity, all of those are part of how they're trying to make change through their organization. So just kind of a cool model for how you could pull your Avid Summative together, but also a model for connecting identity and systems.